Hey there, welcome to this screencast from MODx Video Tutorials. And today we're going to very quickly look at how to create new system settings in your MODx Revolution install on your MODx Revolution site. This screencast is going to assume that you have a bit of knowledge about MODx Revolution, that you at least know how to work with just MODx Revolution, you know how to work with templates, you know a little bit about chunks, well, not necessarily about chunks actually, but that you know a little bit about working with templates and about the MODx Revolution tag syntax. If you don't know these things, not to worry. I'm going to be covering them in a screencast very soon. So if you're just sort of getting started and have been following my beginner series, not to worry, you'll be able to make a lot of sense of this very shortly. But you can go ahead and watch it, and you might even be able to sort of preempt how to work with templates just by looking at this. All right, so how do I, what do I intend to do in this screencast? My intention is actually to create a system setting for a site slogan or site tagline. And site slogans and taglines are all over the web. A lot of websites have them. Just have some examples up here. If you look at the TUTS network, they have this power up your skill set. Sounds like a tagline to me, or could be mad skills, but this is something that appears consistently along with their site name on their pages, and it's sort of their battle cry, sort of their declaration of this is who we are. We're Tuts Plus and we're all about mad skills. Another example is CSS tricks, and Chris here has, I think, what's a good tagline, a web design community curated by Chris Collier. And if you look at all his pages, this appears right next to CSS tricks. So that's sort of his tagline or his slogan. Look at the coding pad. Again, here you see that there's a sort of a tagline here, programming blog, discussion, tutorials, resources, that appears along with the site name. Doesn't have the same ranking as the site name. It's sort of a secondary sort of thing there, but it's a tagline, it's a slogan, it's a sort of, this is who we are. Another example, tutorials in, they have web dev tutorials and resources, site point, become a better web developer, and so on. And if you look at our site here, our MODx Video Tutorials, this is actually the site I'm going to be working on during this screencast. You see that I have something here that says Learn MODx. That's my tagline. That's my site slogan. How do I have this in the site? If I look in the back end here, the way I actually have it presently is that I simply have it hard-coded into my template. So if I look at my header chunk, which is where I have all the stuff that goes into the header. And again, this might be different for you depending on how you've structured your template. Right here, I just scroll down a wee bit here, have the header image. No, I think I went too far. Yep, there we go. I have my site URL and my site name, and that's all, nicely laid out dynamically using, tags, template tags. And so it dynamically pulls from the system settings. It finds my site name and plops it in there and, links it to my site URL. But here, where my site sort of tagline or slogan is, I have it hard-coded in my template. Now, that's not optimal. Ideally, the whole idea is to separate separate content and presentation. And so I don't want this to be hard-coded here. Rather, I want to replace this Learn MODx with something that looks similar to this. So how am I going to do this? This is what is going to be the focus of this little screencast today. All right, now, if we go to System Settings, remember we looked at this in our screencast on how to set your site name and other system settings. So I go to System Settings, and I filter by area, and I go to Site. Okay, this is where my general site settings sit. If you look through here, you have, site start, site name, site status, and all that stuff. There's really nothing here that I can use for a site slogan. Ideally, I want something here, the site name. Ideally, I want something that says something like site tagline or site slogan. But there isn't one. The good news is I can create one, all right? So right here under System Settings, I'm going to come and I'm going to create new setting. And it pops up this little pop-up screen here. Now, if we look at the options it's giving us, the fields it's giving us, there's key. And key are these things here. And what this is the key for my new site setting. And it's what I'm going to use to pull that setting into my template or into whichever part of my site I want to reference it. Okay, so I'm going to call that Site slogan. Sounds fair enough. You could call it site tagline, or whatever you want to call it, as long as you understand what you're talking about. So site slogan, and name is this right here. So I'm just going to call it site slogan or tagline. And the field type is a text field. It's just simply going to be a field of text. It's just going to be a string, so no problem there. I'm going to leave it in the core namespace. If you look at the other options, they're basically the different snippets and stuff that I have installed, and they each create their own namespaces, but I'm going to leave this in core. And for the area lexicon entry, you see that here, when you hover over it, it gives you some examples, where you could, I'm just going to put it under site. And the value, so that's going to be what's the default value. I could just say another MODx Revolution site. There we go. And I'm going to leave it at that, another MODx Revolution site, so we can actually see that change implemented. So let's just leave it at that, and then we'll come back and edit it and put back what we want our slogan to be. And for description, I'm just going to say enter your site slogan or tagline here if you have one. All right, and I'm going to save that. All right, and it should show up here. So site slogan, and has a key, site _ slogan, another MODx Revolution site, and the date it's last modified. And if I open that little, if I click on that little plus sign there, it gives me the description that I entered. Enter the slogan or tagline of your site here if you have one. There we go. So I've created a new system setting. Let's go ahead now and implement this setting. Remember this key here, site slogan? I don't know why I keep saying site slogan. That's what we're going to use to implement and call this setting into our template. All right, so going back to our header here, I'm going to open that. And I'm going to come here where I had my land MODx hard coded, and I'm just going to replace that with a key for my new system setting. And you can see the syntax is going to be exactly the same as the syntax for the other system settings. So site slogan. All right, so save that. Okay, and now I'm going to view and see what comes up. And you can see now that here where it said land MODx, where I've replaced it with my site slogan system settings, it now says another MODx Revolution site, reflecting that it's now reading dynamically from the site settings and plopping my tagline in there. All right, so let's come back here. I'm just going to close that. I'm going to come back here and go to my system settings, and now I'm going to put what I want as the value of my site slogan. So let's go to, again, let's filter by area and go to site, which is where we have our site slogan. There we go. I'm going to double click that to change its value, and I'm going to say land MODx with free screencasts. Just for a change so that we can actually make sure that it's picking up the right thing. So there we go. And now I can view again. And there we go. Site slogan, land MODx with free screencasts, now being pulled from the system settings and appearing where before I had just a simple hard-coded line of text. So this is how you create a new system setting, and I hope that you find this helpful in one way or another in working with your sites, and just to see the flexibility that you have when working with MODx Revolution. Thank you so much. If you have any questions about this screencast, go to modxvideotutorials.com/forums, create a free account, and join in the discussion, ask questions, and see you at the next screencast.